Right, joining me in Italy, Peter Turnstrom from the Jetson Company. How are you?
Good, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Peter, we very excited about this product of yours. We featured it in last week's show, and I've seen a lot of personal flying machines recently, but this one is really exciting. You're part of this Jetson Company. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, the Jetson Company was founded by me and Thomas Spatan, who is the technical guru behind the Jetson. I'm more from the idea and the concept side. We founded it in late 2017, with the idea was to build something, excuse me, an electric personal flying device that you can fly and enjoy.
Yeah.
We had the first prototype was ready in 2018. It was quite ugly. It looked like a flying ladder, but it had the excuse me, it had the layout that we tested all the propellers and all the engines and all the batteries and stuff. So we used that as an ugly but very functional test bed to figure out which propellers we should use with which inclination to get it with what electrical motors, motors, I mean, yeah, in order to build the formula. Now, what do we need in each corner for this thing to fly if it weighs around 90 kilos? And it took us 2 years, 2 years of trial and error. It was very much more expensive than we thought. Wow. We had a lot of misfortune also. So a lot of stuff that everything that could go wrong actually did. So I mean, it was much more difficult than we thought, you know, to build something like this.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of propellers failing on us. We started with wooden propellers. Now we have on the Jetson 1, we have carbon fiber, much better, a little bit lighter. In the end, we ended up with custom build motors. So they're not off the shelf, but it's our specification. So we ended up with that. There is very few projects around the world today when you can use an electric motor of that particular kind. And that is because the Jetson is extremely lightweight. It's like a mountain bike, you know, it's an aluminum frame in the middle. Then you have a carbon fiber / Kevlar seat, which also protects the pilot from the propellers. And then you have carbon fiber tubes for the arms. Without the batteries, it weighs just 40 kilos. Wow. You know, that's 100 pounds. Yeah. It's incredible, you know. Yeah. Yes, it's a really incredible machine. And the Jetson 1, we did the first flight. We did the first about, you know, in the spring. First manned flight, I think it was end of May. And Thomas got the honor to do that. And it was very exciting, he said. Yes, it was, and we've done some adjustments to it since then. There's some settings, you know, because it's a complete fly-by-wire system. You have a thrust lever in your left hand, which does not affect the propeller RPM. It controls the height over ground. Right. So it's not a direct relationship to the propeller RPM. If you put it forward, you will fly higher. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on your right hand, you have the joystick. The joystick, basically, you lean the Jetson. So you go like this, or you go like that, or you go forward and back. Yeah. But also you just have third axis. This, and with this axis, you kind of like, you know, you point the nose in different directions. And we can teach anyone to fly, you know, in 5 minutes, and then they will be up and flying, you know. And it's amazing. The only thing you have to be careful of is, you know, there's a little bit of ground effect, because you're going to be bouncing on a cushion of air when you go close, and also you're going to be if you fly, we do not really recommend to fly over like gravel and stuff like that, because it creates a lot of, it sucks up the gravel. So you'll be in a constant cloud of little stones, you know. So you don't want to do that. Yeah, but yes, and now we launched it on Thursday, and we did a small launch event for the press in Sweden. So we did it in Stockholm. Yes.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, first we had 12 people from the media, from press, and then in the afternoon and evening we did a more public show, and we had like 300 people there. Everyone wanted to see it. It was incredible. But what was incredible, what happened on YouTube with the movie, the beautiful movie that Thomas recorded and did, And then we edited it to look like something from Star Wars. The colors are from Tatooine, from the planet of Tatooine, you know. Yeah, and everyone says that too. I feel like, yeah, we know. Yeah, it has a lot of the movie is great because you can see, like, you know, what it is and how it flies. And also it's important. I often get these questions like, what about, you know, how come you are first? How come you, as such a small company, can do this and be first? You know, we are before Airbus and Boeing and all the other big dragons. You know, they are before them in order to offer something that you can buy. How come? You know, and that is because we are not trying to solve the big problems here. You're not trying to solve urban air mobility, which is the holy grail right now in the air helicopter industry. Everyone is aiming for that. Airbus, did you know that Airbus has fired the majority of their turbine helicopter engineers, and they had to reapply for a job for electric helicopters?
Incredible.
Because Airbus does not see a future with turbine helicopters, you know, beyond like a decade from now. Everything from now on is about battery technology, and the layout of the future helicopter is absolutely going to be a fuselage and one big fan in each corner above the fuselage. That's what a helicopter is going to look like, you know.
Yeah.
Now back to the Jetson. We avoided that path because you have the really big, powerful companies that are trying to solve this gigantic problem, you know, with urban air mobility, which is going to end in they're not going to be able to solve it, because the real problem is automatic air traffic control.
Right.
You need a central computer that takes control over the airspace, over Manhattan, or over Toronto, or over any big city. That is going to control, that's going to fly your helicopter for you. You're not going to fly. It's going to be a computer that does that, and it's going to synchronize all the traffic, because we are saying, like, and it's going to be literally thousands of urban air mobility devices over Toronto or Manhattan at any given moment, you know. And in order to do that in an effective way, you can't do that by piloting. You need a centralized system to fly that together in a big coordinated insect swarm.
Yes.
It's gonna, and the sound is going to be incredible. You know, you're not going to hear the cars anymore. You're going to hear this. It's going to be a constant buzzing in the air. But we said that we're not going to try to solve this problem. We are not going to try to, let's just build something that we want to have ourselves. And me and Thomas, we want to fly, as soon as possible. And so we skipped that, so we built something with a the mission objective is much smaller, much simpler. And that's why we could have something that is ready. It is ready to fly this summer. And we're offering it now. And since Thursday, there's just been incredible. I get one request to purchase the Jetson every 2 minutes.
100 requests every 2 minutes.
One request to purchase every 2 minutes.
One request every 2 minutes. I thought you said 100 every 2 minutes. Wow.
Yes, and we have sold so far since. Just since Thursday, I think I have 40 Jetsons sold, already confirmed.
Wow.
Yes, and we have one request to invest in the company or to purchase the company every 30 minutes. It is incredible what's going on, and I think that this I'm humble and very happy for the situation, of course. With this much interest and this much purchases, then we can reach our goal faster, and in a better way. And we think that we're going to be able to, if everything goes to plan, I go along the plan, which we think. Right now, we are starting the final testing of the Jetson 1 device, the prototype that we saw flying in the desert. Yes, and just by the way, that desert is located in Poland.
Really?
Yeah, there's a desert in Poland. I didn't know that. Thomas told me there's a desert here.
Wow.
There's a desert in Poland. It's good for military for it's a tank proving ground. So they drive tank. You can rent it if you want to make a movie. Anyway, so we're gonna test it, and it's gonna be we're gonna test it flying in fog, flying in snow, flying in rain. What happens if we remove one motor? You know, is it really going to be stable? What happens if we run out of battery? What happens if we starting running really fast with everything? What happens to the heat? All that is going to test. And according to the test flight manager, she said that it's going to be ready in April.
Right.
So in April, we're going to be. We said in April we can start putting our friends in the pilot seat. Okay. Right now it's just me and Thomas and one other person. But after that, we're gonna let people try and demo. And if everything goes well, I think we're gonna have a limited production run by the end of next year. And that's a limited production run. It's a production run when one guy builds the entire Jetson from start to end. Okay, it's not an assembly line. You build one and then you build the next. You know, by 2023 for the big bulk, I think that we probably can have 100. You know, something like that we need to build. That's going to be a proper assembly line. Okay, so one guy is going to do the cables and put them. You know, one guy is going to mount the motors, and one guy is going to put it in a beautiful box with the manual because it's sold as an experimental. So the end guy, the person who buys it, he must, according to US law, in order for it to fall under Part 103, which is like experimental aircraft, you know, it has to be there are two conditions. It has to be weigh less than 120 kilos, 250 pounds, which the Jetson does perfectly, 86 kilos, 100 pounds. Yeah. Is 86 kilos 100 pounds? No, it's 200 pounds. 86 kilos is 200 pounds.
Right.
It's okay. Yeah, something like that. The other thing is that the pilot, the person who buys it, he needs to do 50% of the assembly himself. That's important, you know. Then it becomes an experimental aircraft, and then also he can fly the aircraft without the pilot's license, but it has to be in Class G airspace, and also only not in the night. So only VFR conditions, you know. Yeah. So that's why 80% of our customers right now, they are from the United States, and actually we haven't had a time yet, but we need to ask the questions to the Canadian FAA, because you certainly have one. Yes. And also we have to do the same research in Europe. In Europe, the situation is really weird. Do you want to hear the story?
No, tell me.
So I have for the last 2 years, I've been in contact with the Swedish FAA. It's called the Transportstyrelsen, which is the authority of Ministry of Transport in Sweden. And I've asked them, is this legal to fly? And I've been calling them, and they have not been able to answer that question because there is no classification for the aircraft. They told me, listen, okay, sure, but what is it? Is it a drone? No, you are sitting in it. You're flying it. It's not a drone.
Yes.
Okay. Is it a helicopter? No, it's not a helicopter because it doesn't have just one big thing on the top. It has 8 electric motors. Is it? What about the ultralight helicopter? No, it's not an ultralight helicopter either, because ultralight helicopter can be 400 kilos. You know, so it's a completely different thing, also. You know, and it goes. It doesn't have wings. You know, and it just goes on and on. So right now they don't know what it is. And when they don't know what it is, it's legal. It's legal to fly until they figure out a class for it.
Ah.
Oh yeah. So yes, but again, I think that let's not make unnecessary trouble. If you are from Sweden or Europe, want to buy this, just use your head. And don't fly in the center of cities. You can fly in the forest, go to if you have a farmhouse, fly there. Stay away from airports, you'll be fine. Okay, because I think my gut feeling is that within 2 or 3 years, we're going to have exactly the same laws in Europe as we had in the United States, because we are really good at copying the American the legal system from America when it comes to air flight.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, there was some talk a couple of years ago about airspeed up to 500, air grounds up to 500 feet being this U space. Do you know much about that? Are you familiar with that at all?
Yes, yes, I know. I've heard about it. And Thomas has mentioned it to me also. This is probably going to be a part of the classification and the legal legalization in Europe is you're going to have a max altitude that you cannot fly over.
Yes. Wow.
And I think that is in 500 feet is up. I mean, it's no problem for us. For us, it could be also 100 feet, because the most fun you have in the jet zone is when you fly 2 to 8 meters, 8 to 20 feet, 30 feet. That's fun. You're flying over the treetops, you can see you can see the leaves are kind of like shaking behind you when you fly over them, or you fly like Thomas did over the desert, but you fly low. Yeah. That's fun. Then you have the Return of the Jedi situation. When I saw that movie, I was like 12 probably.
Right.
The movie is from, I think, Return of the Jedi is from 83, so I'm 9.
Yes.
And I remember I had my grandma take me to the movies 5 times, and she was so sick of that movie. But I loved it. But I loved it, And I went and I saw, and the jet speeder, the speeding scene when they are in that forest, the jungle, which was recorded in Sequoia Forest?
Yes.
In California. Yes. It was recorded in there. That's why the trees are so massive.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I think that sense of speed. And
what an incredible place you are with your company right now. This is a fantastic time for you, Peter, and the rest of the guys. I mean, I wish you every success. What happens with the machine if you take off all inputs, if you don't do anything at all?
It stops in the air like this. It stops in the air. It uses the GPS, which it has on the top of the front of the GPS, and it will hold and hover. And even if the wind blows from some direction, it will kind of like go a little bit against the wind like that in order to just keep the same. And then you can, I mean, if you're just hovering like that, you can turn around with this. So you can look around you a little bit if you want. Yes, I think that we're going to see a very beautiful and a very super interesting future ahead with all these flying devices. I mean, we are not alone. Jetson is not alone. There's going to be many other companies just like us that are gonna be up to speed, and I think during the next year. They have seen the movie also. So a lot of guys that have seen the movie and they say, okay, let's also try this, and we accept that. The Jetson as a name we have patented, so we can't have that. It was yes, we had a little fight with, not a fight, we had an email exchange with Hanna-Barbera,
right,
who are the owner of the Jetsons brand. But when they realized we don't want to make animated movies, but we want to do a little helicopter,
and talking about we opened up talking a bit about this urban mobility and the completely computerized skies. How far away from that do you think we are? A decade, 20 years? What do you think?
I think that it's a Gordian, what do you call it? Gordian knot. It's something as a knot that's very, very difficult to solve. And we have some of the smartest guys on the planet are trying to solve it, But I think that there's 2 problems. There's one problem is that the technical problem with that simple computer. The other problem is legislation, politicians. I think that whatever happens, no matter what, this is going to happen. We like it or not, it's going to happen, and it's going to be the future. I think that we as human beings, we are going to be much more flying in urban environments. And then when you have, like, for instance, if you want to move a piano, or if you move your stuff, move something heavy, or you want to deliver goods, you're going to use the roads. Right. But if you don't have to use, so that's how it's going to be. I think that we're going to have a structure on top of buildings that looks like a mushroom. That's going to be that's going to be built very, very common, that you have your car, your flying car. It's going to be on top of that structure, and you can, if you have like 10 apartments, you're going to have place for maybe 6 of these cars on top. It's going to be a charging station also, because it's going to be full electric. I don't believe in like hydrogen fuel cells and all that, or like one other thing. Like, I think all hybrid technology is Satan, because it's bad. Yeah, it's a full electric or it's jet, nothing in between. Okay, I don't believe in technology where you have like a range extender in something like Jetson, and you have a little turbine charging the batteries or something. I don't believe in that. I mean, the batteries are going to be so brilliant in 5 or 6 years from now that you just skip that step. You don't need it. Yeah. So I think we're going to have these mushroom structures. I think there's going to be mushroom structures everywhere. Also, there's going to be, if you live in a sky, like a taller building, I think that you're going to have much bigger terraces or balconies. So you're gonna have a place for your flying car on the edge of your balcony. That's where you're gonna land, and then you go in through the balcony door. That's the entrance to the
Yes.
apartment. You know, and that's fantastic. I think so. You don't even have to use you don't have to, and this is such good news for people like Greta Thunberg. She's my neighbor in Stockholm, by the way. Don't worry about it. It's such good news for everyone. You know, it's great. Suddenly, you know, there is, I mean, congestion is going to move from the ground, from the asphalt on the ground, it's going to move to the air, you know, so there's less traffic. People who want to do electric mountain bikes or the little scooters and everything electric, that they're going to be kings of the street. Cars days are, you know, a little in a decade. I think this is 20 years from now, but the car has peaked a little bit. You know, now it's time for something new, and that is urban air mobility thing. All those electric helicopters that Airbus and Boeing are making. You know,
Fantastic.
that's what I think, and it's a beautiful future, and I'm so excited. I think that the cities are going to be much greener. We're going to have much more green. You don't have to. There is a lot of infrastructure you don't have to invest. You don't need to build. You don't need to right now build a lot of roads. You know, around the city. I don't know. Do you really need it? No.
Peter, what an absolutely fascinating chat. I want to thank you so much. And I want to wish you all the best with your orders. And I'm sure while we've been on this call, you've received plenty more. But thank you for your time. And I want to catch up with you around springtime next year as well, and just see how it's all going.
I would like to invite you April next year. Come to Tuscany to the Jetson Customer Experience Center. I'll let you try to fly it.
Fantastic. That is made my day. I'll be there.
Great. Thank you very much.
Take care, Peter. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.